YouTube. So I had already recorded this video basically throughout this whole morning, starting at 8:30, because I went on a trip to the new Barnes & Noble that opened yesterday in Waterford Lakes, which is just like a 5-10 minute drive from where I live. And I've been highly anticipating the opening of the Barnes & Noble because this is like the first bookstore around here. There's one on campus that's kind of a Barnes & Noble, but it's also like a like college supply store, and their book selection is smaller and also way more expensive because, you know, it's on campus. Anyway, so I had recorded all of this and I did most of my talking on the drive. And I guess whenever you have your phone hooked to Bluetooth, even if you're not playing anything, and you're trying to record a video, I don't know, the audio didn't save. So at first I was like, maybe it's a sign I need to not do a video right now because there's been a lot going on here at school, just life in general. But then I realized that's probably the reason why I should record this. If there's so much going on, I need to go back to what I know, which is talking. I can talk. We know I can talk. Anyway, and I found that talking about my life on here has been really therapeutic. So I'm gonna tell you about my day at Barnes & Noble. So first off, I can't show you everything I got because my dad and brother's birthdays are coming up and they're coming to visit during their birthdays. So I picked up their birthday gifts. Brother, I would show Brother's gift, but I'm really hoping he watches this video. And Brother, if you're watching, I love you. I'm glad you're doing better and I can't wait to see you. But here's what I got. So first off, I got these, what's the word? Stationery. I got this hummingbird stationery, which my parents have a video. I might link it in this if I remember. But where Mom and I took care of a hummingbird that flew into our window because our big picture window in our living room doesn't have blinds, and because of that, birds will fly into it sometimes, and we love hummingbirds, Mom especially. So we have a video of us taking care of a hummingbird until it's able to fly again. And I've always loved hummingbirds because my mom does, but especially after that experience, they've been so special to me. So when I saw these, I had to get them. And also, that being said, I think people should write letters more often. I used to write letters to my grandparents when I was little, and then I always had some sort of pen pal, whether it was a family member or a friend. And I'm just trying to go back to the things that I've always enjoyed, because there's so much change in life that I feel like going back to these things is so, I don't know, refreshing. So I'm excited to fill these out. There's people I've been wanting to write to anyway, but I haven't had any envelopes. And this comes with envelopes and has the cutest little hummingbird. So I can't wait. I'll probably start on those either today or tomorrow. And then I got this book called Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. And I have been anticipating this book since I first learned about this author. Her first book is Cleopatra and Frankenstein, which I read earlier this year, and ever since then, I've suggested it to just about anyone I know who's talking about books. Cleopatra and Frankenstein, easily said, I think it changed me quite a bit, because I've always read like fantasy, sci-fi, horror books, and there's nothing wrong with that. I still enjoy those, but I had this sudden burnout my freshman year of high school because I'm a writer as well. Well, at least I was. I know I still am, but my freshman year I wrote an entire fantasy novel, like 330 some pages, and it was good. Like, it was genuinely a good book. And I did the like second and third draft, had a teacher review it for me, and I realized that the story, there was so much more to tell with that story that it would need a sequel, but it took so much energy out of me to write this first one that I was just absolutely burnt out on writing. And unfortunately, reading went away with that. And when I had assigned books for classes. I did my classes self-paced online so I could get through them faster. When I was assigned books, I'd look up the Spark Notes and ask people who had read the books. When I worked on book reports, because I just could not bring myself to read, I'd have a book in front of me and I'd be reading it, but nothing would go in my brain, and it was just so draining to the point where I hated reading. I couldn't write because I was so burnt out. I've had like 5-6 years of writer's block. How long has it been since freshman year of high school? Anyway, I've rambled so much now that I ran out of storage on my phone and I had to go through and delete some stuff. But Coco Mellors' first book, Cleopatra and Frankenstein, literally changed me and brought me back into a love of reading. Since freshman year, after the big burnout, I didn't read again until last school year. And since then, I've read a lot of nonfiction, particularly about societal and like political issues that I care about a lot, but I need to read for fun too. So Cleopatra and Frankenstein is a book set, I think, either 90s or 2000s, 2010s, about a girl who just finished school, art school. She's from London, but she went to school in New York, and her student visa is almost up, and for some unknown reason, we learn that she does not want to or cannot go home. So she's in a hurry to find a way to stay in the United States. She is having a hard time finding like a job with her arts degree. So when she meets a much older man who has a lot of money and thinks she's pretty, she goes for it and they get married. This is like in the first chapter, so not really a spoiler. In the book deals with multiple characters, so many themes in it are drug abuse, relationship problems, marriage problems, and big emphasis on mental health. I didn't realize that you could read a book that wasn't some like outlandish world with magical creatures to entertain you. You can read a book that's based off of things that happened in the author's life and not be able to be torn away from the page. I could not stop reading, and when I finished reading it, I cried. So I immediately Googled Coco Mellors' books, and she had another one coming out, Blue Sisters, but at the moment she had only had that book. So Blue Sisters was out in London and Germany, I believe, or France, and unless I wanted to pay $40 shipping to get a copy that might be in French, I figured I'd wait for the American version. Coco Mellors was in Miami a month or so ago. I didn't get to see her because I was busy that day. I was wanting to go pick up a signed copy from her and tell her how much I enjoy her book, and that didn't happen, but that's okay. I hadn't ordered it online because I love shopping in bookstores, and I didn't want to take away from the magic of going to a bookstore and finding a book. So this Barnes & Noble opened yesterday, and I didn't get to go because I was busy, but I went this morning. I was sitting here wondering why everything was so empty here at Waterford Lakes, because it's always so busy. Then I remembered it's like 8:45, and on top of that, Barnes & Noble doesn't open until 9. So I walked all the way out here from my car for nothing, but the Christmas music is nice, so I'll just sit here. I actually ended up being early before the store even opened, so I sat on the bench outside and just kind of people watched. There was Christmas music playing and it was nice outside. It wasn't hot yet. And this person walked by and he goes, "Love your shirt, by the way," which I don't know if you can tell, but it says Attack on Titan, which is a Japanese anime I recently watched and fell in love with. And I'd never watched anime before or enjoyed it when I did watch it, so this was a first. The ending broke me, and Rachel and Seth had to take me to my room and put me to bed because I couldn't stop crying and the World Series was on. And they love baseball. Anyway, this guy says, "I love your shirt." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And you know, when you talk to strangers, it's usually just like a one-off comment. It's never a full conversation. But he was also waiting for the Barnes & Noble to open. So, and we had a long conversation about the show, and that's just so different because, like I was saying in the original recording, which I'm not gonna put in this because there's no audio, but I feel like strangers don't talk to each other in the way that they used to because the world's become so cruel. And not that everyone's evil, it's just there's so much going on that it's hard to trust people. And I found myself pretty closed off in the past year. So now I've started out with, when I'm like driving in a parking garage and you know, you swerve around the corner and then there's another car there and it's just kind of like a tight space, I always make sure to smile and wave at the person even if I don't know them. Or if I make eye contact with someone in another car when I'm passing, I smile and wave even if I don't know them. Just because something happy like that, I know would make my day better, and I would love to see me doing that make someone else's day better. So I was just talking about that on camera right before I got to Barnes & Noble, and then the guy came up to me and just had an entire conversation like we were friends. It's amazing. I want more of that. So if you see anyone today, a stranger, smile and wave, or start a conversation, one of those. It's so important to spread happiness in this time, especially with the holidays coming up, are gonna need some extra love. That conversation today absolutely made my day, and it was just about my t-shirt. So if you can do that for somebody, that would mean so much. But anyway, the store was beautiful. I mean, I'll show clips that I took in there. This was my favorite book as a kid. And I love this book now. This is probably the cutest Barnes & Noble I have ever seen. As an anthropology major, if y'all ever need to get me a gift for any reason, one of these. I'm a total nerd. Got it. I am so happy. I'm so happy. It's the cutest Barnes & Noble store I have probably ever seen. And also, I know they just opened, so all the workers are like excited, but they were all so nice. Like literally, I couldn't find Blue Sisters because like Coco Mellors used to be a Barnes & Noble employee, so her books get like, they get their own display since she used to be an employee at different Barnes & Nobles. I follow her on Instagram, so I get to see like all the displays in the different stores and stuff. But I couldn't find a display, so I asked one of the workers. I was like, "Do you know if you guys have Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors?" And he was like, "I'm sure we do. We can go to my computer and figure it out." So we head over to the computer, and one of the customers goes, "I was here for that too. It's 2 tables down that way." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." So I showed you guys the stationery I got, and I showed you the cover of Blue Sisters. You know, I wanted to go to Miami to get a signed copy, but what I learned when I originally recorded this, the copy I got is signed. Like, this is a legit signature from this author who has brought back my love of reading and even writing. I just still have writer's block, but I want to write, which is something new. Anyway, I've read the prologue already, and then I realized I needed to put this video together. I can't wait to keep reading. The prologue itself was good, and I can't wait to keep going. Anyway, that's about it, I believe. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good day.